Welcome back to the Green Means Go channel. It's your host, me. A couple of housekeeping orders of business. I added 2 ornaments to the tree, this donut one up here, and then this bulb you can barely see for the 2 people who commented Christian Watson as the king of the end zone. So we got those added. And if you're wondering what's going on here, this is a ping pong table that was listed on Facebook Marketplace for $100, and it's a Jula, if you can't tell. I think that's a name brand. It was running for $500 brand new, and they said they only used it a few times. I know people sometimes say that on Marketplace. I trusted them, and it looks like they've only used it a few times. So I went ahead and bought it. Do we have a ton of room for it? Well, you can probably tell that we don't exactly, but I'm going to figure out where I can put this and where I can play this because I love me some ping pong. So shout out to L Crossface 68 and Hot Dog of Red for picking Christian Watson. He was one of my suggested plays, so if anybody else tailed, congratulations. I think the free bet was like $150. Let's look at today's, by today's I mean tomorrow's NFL games. A couple of things to note before we get started. Everybody's done with bye weeks. Some of these divisional standings are getting tight, getting close. A lot of the totals this week are extremely low. I mean, look at this one, 35.5. I don't have an overwhelming amount of plays and leans, so we're going to break this down, go through some things, and hopefully it can be of help as you build out your portfolio for Sunday. So Cleveland, great defense. San Francisco, weak against the pass. Is this a chance for Shedeur to capitalize? I don't know. It's going to be chilly. It's likely going to be bad conditions for throwing the ball, but Shedeur has the weight of the world on his shoulders, and I think this is a fairly easy matchup for him. I'm going to put that in massive air quotes. It could be a harder matchup. I don't see a ton I love here. I would probably lean San Francisco -4.5. I think that total is right on the money, right on the number. Looking at touchdowns, I would say that the weakness here for San Francisco is through the air. Like we kind of already mentioned, 7 to tight ends and 12 to receivers. So if you want to go back to Njoku or Harold Fannin, I don't hate you for it. I think it could be an opportunity. As for the other side of the ball, again, Cleveland's defense is stellar. They don't allow a ton on the ground. 11 tight end offensive for San Francisco, so they love to get in sets and formations that will pay off for the tight ends. 5 for Kittle, 4 for Tungus, and 2 for Luke Farrell. So if you want to look anywhere, and again, the matchup isn't the best, maybe you check out some San Francisco tight ends for touchdowns. Jacksonville and Tennessee, I'm not interested in this one at all. It's an ugly divisional game, but I do think Jacksonville comes into this game with more to play for, obviously, with the division still within reach, but Houston and Indy both fighting for it. They know that Houston or Indy will lose this week because those 2 teams play each other. So this is a big game for Jacksonville. I expect a heavy dose of ETN and Tootin this week. So I think both of those guys have opportunities to score. Jacksonville running backs is where I would look for touchdowns. If we look at Tennessee, 16, one of the worst in the league at allowing the touchdown. And if we look at the offense for Tennessee, red on both running and passing offense, which tells me they can't get anything going. However, they found a little bit of a groove last week against Seattle, which, of all the defenses that you want to boast about finding a groove with, maybe that's the one. So maybe their success against a really solid defense in the Seahawks will give them some momentum. I'm going to personally stay away. I'm not interested in taking anything Tennessee Titans. Speaking of the other game in the AFC South, Houston and the Colts. Wow, guys. I saw the clip of Daniel Jones in practice. He has a broken or fractured fibula. He says he's fine. The clips of him that I saw on Twitter, he did not look fine. I look at this defense with Houston that's able to pressure the quarterback, and I am nervous here. I am very concerned about the Colts coming off a loss in Kansas City, having to face a division rival who's on their heels. CJ Stroud comes back. ooh, like it makes me bite my bottom lip and go, ooh, this is a spot for the Colts that does make me nervous. If I am Shane Steichen, if I am Carly, the guy who used to own the team that did a lot of the drugs and he passed, what's his name? Irsay. If I'm Carly Irsay, I am sitting this team down and saying, hey, Jonathan Taylor, how do your legs feel? Because after today, I don't want you to be able to walk. We're going to run the ball 60 times because I don't think it's good to put Danny Dimes in a situation where they have to throw. I don't think this defense is going to allow. I mean, look at this. 5 receiver touchdowns and 3 tight end touchdowns, 11 running. Like, the key for the Colts is to run. So my leans, Taylor attempts, Taylor TDs, Taylor yards. I just think it's a volume game, and it has to be a volume game. Houston receivers, although there is no true consistency outside of Nico Collins, we haven't really seen Christian Kirk. He's been injured, but we haven't seen him be that productive. Higgins has found a little bit of a groove. Hutchinson has played better. With Stroud, not so much with Davis Mills. So if you want to look Houston receivers' way, I don't mind it. I just don't have an overwhelming confidence in a guy outside of Nico. This game is interesting in the fact that I kind of like an upset here. New Orleans is 5.5-point dogs. And if we look, and again, they have no Alvin Kamara. He's not playing this week, so that's not great. For a team that already cannot run the ball, you see New Orleans is red here. But they defend the pass very well. And Miami, obviously they have Devon Achane, so they could run away with this. I just think they're too stubborn. I think they're going to drop back and make Tua have to pass to win this game. And I think New Orleans is going to blitz and make Tua uncomfortable. New Orleans blitzes a ton, and Tua is very susceptible, weak against the blitz. So Tua unders, maybe even a Tua interception if you can get a price you like. New Orleans plus 5.5. I don't like any TDs in this game. I think it's an ugly game, and I'm staying away, but I think it's an upset spot. Jets in Atlanta, another game with a low total. We got another game under 40 here. 2.5-point home underdog are the Jets. I've determined that the Jets are just an East Coast Cleveland. It's the same team. They play defense well, but offensively, there's no consistency. They've had quarterback issues all year. They have nobody really to throw the ball to. Their running back could be better than they actually are if they were utilized a little more, but they get down in games and they have to throw. Like, Cleveland and New York are the same team. For all the talking points, if you describe both of these teams and you say, which team am I talking about? It's the same thing. It's the Pam picture, Pam meme from The Office, right? Corporate wants you to tell the difference between these two photos. Okay? I like Cousins unders. I like unders in general, maybe Tyrod Taylor unders. I look at these defenses, and obviously the Jets' biggest weakness is on the ground. That is good for Atlanta, given that they have 2 very strong running backs, Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson. And if you look at Algier, more touchdowns than Bijan this year, 7 and 6, which is impressive to say the least. But I'm shocked that Tyler Algier has been more productive in the red zone and getting the ball across the goal line. So that would be my lean in this one. But again, at a total of 38, I'm not rushing to bet overs. Game in Tampa Bay. I like Tampa Bay here. I like a minus 2.5. I like them on the money line. This is a team that's kind of stumbled, has had really good success to start the year, really strong offensively. The Mike Evans injury hurts them. They've had injuries with Bucky Irving. And Arizona is no stranger to the injury bug themselves with Marvin Harrison and obviously Kyler Murray, but I would argue Jacoby Brissett has been a stronger quarterback. We do see that Marvin Harrison is likely to be back for this one, so they should be at full strength. Baker Mayfield was kind of battling something, but I think he'll be fine. Like I said, Bucky Irving should be back. These are very similar teams in how they play the game. Here's the difference maker, I think, at least on paper, and paper is sometimes wrong. Baker is by far and away a better quarterback when he is facing man coverage. No. Sorry. When he's facing zone coverage than when he is facing man. He plays better against a zone. Arizona plays 78% of their snaps in zone. So I think it's a big day for Baker. I think they move the ball well. And looking at Arizona's defense, 14 running back touchdowns allowed. I like Bucky Irving this week, and we'll talk about my official plays in a little bit. He's only got 2 on the year, but remember, guys, he's been injured. So I expect this team to be thrilled to have him back, and I expect his workload to be rather large in the red zone. This is another spot that I'd say watch out. Early game, East Coast for the LA team. They had a holiday season. Their practice schedule is probably different this week. They're out of sync. Then they got to go across the country, play an early game. I think this is the peak of the Rams season. And this is a team truly that people aren't talking about as much as they should be. They are the number 1 team right now in the NFC. They are leading. They would have the bye if the playoffs started today. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that Carolina exposes them a little bit. Carolina shows some weaknesses. And I think it's mainly Carolina's defense that comes to play and shows up. I think this is one of the higher totals we have at 45.5, and I think it is an under game here. I like Carolina plus 10.5, and I think they show up for this game because they have a lot to play for. Do the Panthers? They're tied, and I don't know how the tiebreaker all works, but they have the same amount of wins as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay does have a tricky-ish game this weekend. Now, I'm not saying that Carolina is going to win outright, but I'm going to say that they compete till the final whistle. And a few weeks ago, I said Carolina, take them to win the division at plus 700. I don't know what it is now. It may be that, too. It's an interesting look. I think this team is stronger than people assume. So that's what I'll say at that. I don't have a ton of TD targets because, like I said, I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. Both of these defenses are respectable. Max Brosmer starts for Minnesota, and I'm going to say that I've seen some reports that this guy can play. I think he's going to show up, and I think he's going to play better than J.J. McCarthy. I think there's going to be some conversations, especially against the Seahawks defense, that maybe Brosmer, is he the future? Maybe it's not J.J. McCarthy. Now, he has quite possibly the worst situation to walk into, going to Seattle, playing in this stadium in front of these fans, great defense. I don't envy the guy, but the lights are bright, and let's see if he can do something. I think you're going to get value on Minnesota receivers to score. Seattle's defense is through the air, and I expect them to be trailing. I expect them to have very little success running. That is Minnesota, and so I think they're just going to have to turn to throwing. If they can get a late TD, even an early TD, I think Justin Jefferson was at plus 270. Addison was at plus 400. Hawkinson 6-1. Guys, those are really big numbers. And it's basically, I believe, it's being priced on the fact that we don't know much about Max Brosmer. The market probably says this is the 3rd string quarterback against a great defense on the road. They're not scoring. I'm more optimistic than that. I think you're getting value on receivers. Otherwise, I look at Seattle running backs. Pittsburgh and Buffalo, I'm not going to spend too much time here just because I can't figure either of these two teams out. I want to say Buffalo is the stronger team here, but they've not proven that as of late. This is an intriguing matchup. I think Jaylen Warren could have a big day against Buffalo's weak rushing defense, and I think Buffalo's got to get the ball in the air against this weak pass defense of the Steelers, and Josh Allen has to kind of play a little bit loose and kind of try to run up the score a little bit, be really aggressive. So we'll see what happens. I like Pittsburgh running backs, Buffalo wide receivers, and tight ends to score. LA and Las Vegas, that's so embarrassing. Like, look at this. Look at this down here. This is embarrassing. 12 weeks into the season, you've played 12 games, and you have 4 people who have scored. What? That doesn't even make sense mathematically. There are teams who will score with 4 different guys in a game. We've played 12 games, and you have 4 guys who have scored touchdowns. Now, Ginty has 8, and right, Tucker has 5, so it's not like they're not scoring a lot. Well, they aren't, but just weird. It's just weird to see only 4 guys. Chargers, too many weapons. It is a divisional game. It's a low total. So it makes me a little nervous, a low total. I just think any Chargers players are our game here. You pick and choose who you like. Sunday Night Football, Washington hosts Denver. I think 6.5 is too low. When you look at the strength of Denver's defense, it travels well. They play well. Jaden Daniels was close to coming back, but he's not coming back this week. They do get Terry McLaurin back, which will be a weapon. I don't think that matters. And with as bad as Washington's defense is, I think when you have a great defense against a horrible defense, it can get out of hand quick. So I'd look at Denver players and have fun with that one. And then your Monday Night Football game, the matchup here is rushing and passing in some respects. I think New England tries to control the pace and does a lot on the ground. And I think New York just lets Jameis continue to go crazy. Although I think actually Jackson Dart cleared concussion protocol now that I think about it. So I don't know what they'll do. So I apologize for not being prepared. It just hit me. That Jackson Dart may play. I don't know if I'd start him with as well as Jameis is playing against a fairly weak, 16 wide receiver touchdowns, maybe New York receivers. I haven't heard. Check that. If Jameis is playing, look at New York wide receivers. Otherwise, I like New England running backs, but it makes me nervous because they have options, and I don't know who's the lead guy. I think it's Henderson. All right, let's look at some official plays. My best bet of the week, and it is nerve-wracking going up against the number one NFC team. And you may look at this and you may say, are you an idiot? And I may be an idiot. I am going to go Carolina plus 10.5 as my best bet of the week. And I'm gonna kind of wince when I say it. My first and goal play, Bucky Irving, anytime touchdown. I think 185 is a great price for him to score. Third and long, like I said, Minnesota has some value. I'm taking TJ Hawkinson at 6-1. I think that price is too darn good. Both of these plays are on FanDuel. And then DraftKings does have a touchdown boost. Add up to 5 touchdown scorers, get a 50% boost. Guys, like I've said before, this is a long shot. It's 51-1, right? Like that's like saying I'm going to think of a state. Okay. Got it. Okay, name the state. Type the state in the comments. All right, you got your state typed in the comments. All right, New Hampshire. Yeah, nobody said New Hampshire. You know why? Because you had a 51-1 chance if you count Puerto Rico. All right, and that's hard to do. So that's the odds of this to hit. We'll hope we can hit it. I like Jonathan Taylor, Travis Etienne, Tyler Algier, Zach Charbonnet, and Jalen Warren. I looked at the easy rushing matchups. I picked some running backs, and let's hope we can get it to the window. Otherwise, guys, I want to bring you the NBA video today for Saturday. We had a good night last night again. Our NBA plays are rolling, so I'm excited to do that. But the data I used was not updated for today's matchup, so I couldn't do it. So this comes first. Sorry, I've rambled. Love you. Bye.